3, 2, 1.
Are we live?
Hello, we are live.
Instagram and Facebook.
Instagram
live.
and Facebook.
Okay, and I have my beautiful granddaughter, Violet.
Hi.
Okay,
It's nice we haven't done this in a while.
I know.
Just you and me.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's fun.
I have Violet stories I can tell.
Violet stories?
Yeah. One of my favorite Violet stories was the day we were talking. I think you called me and you said, "I've just discovered a fabulous singer." I said, "Wow, how exciting! What's their name?" And you said, "Frank Sinatra."
That's so funny. I didn't even know that. I must have been like 11 or 12
You
or
were 12.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, you were
That's
12.
so
Right.
funny.
Yeah. And you were right.
That's
Fabulous
great.
singer.
That was accurate. Fabulous singer that I had just discovered.
Yeah. You know, he and Barbara became friends because they lived in Palm Springs, and he was a wonderful host. If we'd go out for dinner with him, we'd go to this one of his favorite restaurant, and there was never anybody there. And I remember saying to him, "Frank, how do these guys survive? There are no customers." And it turned out that when Frank was dining there, they didn't take reservations
that's so
for
funny.
anybody else.
That's so
It was
funny.
great. He was a great host. Okay, he'd run in the kitchen and get the clams and bring the clams out. A little more pasta, a great bottle of wine. Great.
That doesn't surprise me.
So the thing that most people don't know about Frank Sinatra, I'm not sure anybody knows about Frank Sinatra other than those close to him, is that he was fascinated with toy trains.
That's funny.
Okay? And he had an actual caboose in his
God.
backyard. And inside the caboose, he had, I lost track of how many electric trains he had, but we'd go in there, he'd put on the conductor's hat and start pushing buttons, and trains would start going around the room, up on the ceiling and around the walls, and there were electric trains everywhere going, woo, woo! I mean,
Wow.
yeah, it was incredible. He became a little boy, like all men do at one point or another.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful because, you know, his image was a major departure from that. But obviously the man was very capable he had a lot of interest in life. He was very philanthropic. If he read the local newspaper and somebody was in trouble, they needed medical help and they didn't have the money and it wasn't covered by insurance, he would pay for it anonymously. And
That's so sweet.
He did that a lot.
That's
a
so
lot.
sweet.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, they were a great couple.
Well, I want to cheers because this smoothie is sitting in front of me and I can't wait any longer to drink it.
Okay.
Michael made us these beautiful smoothies. This one is peanut butter banana and that one is chocolate cherry.
Chocolate cherry. I love both.
It got pretty quiet for a second. And on that note, I do want to say that Monday we were doing this deal with a free gift, which is the original size Gut Renew Superfood Plant Protein Formula. And we are continuing that deal. So if you spend $99.99 or more at SuzanneSummers.com, you are eligible for this free gift, which is the value size original Gut Renew at SuzanneSummers.com. It says Best by 5/26. We have a few people asking, and the reason it says that is just because that's the Best By date. It's not like milk. It's not going to go bad. It's not going to kill you. It's just that some of the ingredients have the potential to slowly lose a little bit of potency over time. So that's why we're doing this deal. If I were you, I would jump on it because I know that I'm always using the original size or the value size bag because I go through it. When you drink Gut Renew every day, this is such a great value. We really call it value size for a reason. This is such a great value, and you get it today as a free gift with any purchase of $99.99 or more.
You know, I'm going to show, there's so much great stuff in here. Whoops. Is that, oh, that's mine. It's okay. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. I drop it constantly. Okay. Let me show you this. Okay. You probably can't read it, but there are, I've lost track of the count in terms of how much is in each one of these bags. I know that you get 20 grams of protein, but in addition to that, it's got all kinds of other great minerals. Look at this.
We have 4 organic plant-based proteins, 5 gut health nutrients. We have immune support boosters, phytogreens. It's like every healthy thing I can imagine that I've seen in the health community. Turmeric, spirulina, chlorella, digestive enzymes, probiotics, prebiotics, mushrooms, fermented pea protein. And then we also have the sea buckthorn, wheatgrass, barley grass. Literally every single thing I just listed is in here and more. So that's the most incredible, how do I say it? Because it's not a protein powder, but I'd say plant-based protein powder that I've ever seen on the market. This is great because you get a great serving of protein, but you also get all these gut health nutrients that a lot of conventional protein powders don't include.
Very well said. Thank you.
Cheers.
I'll
Cheers
drink
to
to
that. And we have these great tumblers on the site too, the Gut Renew tumbler, which I love because, well, you can see he apparently doesn't like to use a straw, but for those of us who like straws, it's great to have a designated container for the Gut Renew.
I don't like straws. I've never liked straws. Especially.
Why is that? Why don't you?
I don't know. I guess because I like to get a big mouthful of whatever I'm drinking rather than
Yeah.
you get a hernia from sucking through a straw.
I've never heard. Oh, I'm getting a call. I know what she's going to say. My mom is probably wanting to correct me on the bag. Apparently, so the sign is wrong. The sign says Best Buy 526, but I think it's actually Best Buy 525. So, are you calling about the Best Buy date, Mom?
Yes, you got the note.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
It's
thank
just
you, sweetie.
so it's Best Buy 525, right?
Yes, which is why we're doing this amazing giveaway. So the product is not bad, but we're not going to sell it after the Best Buy date because
Yes.
it's stamped on the bag. So we've had them tested. They are safe, full efficacy. So it's a reason to do a great deal.
Amazing. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, honey.
Bye.
You know, I had one supplement and I only had one bottle left, and the expiration date suddenly appeared. So I called my go-to doctor, my energy doctor, Dr. Gallitzer, Michael Gallitzer, and I asked him about the expiration date, and he said, I happen to know about this. He said, every year after the expiration date, it loses 1% in the year. So basically, it's the expiration date really doesn't affect. If you take it within a year, you're only losing 1%, etc.
Yeah.
So, which is great.
Yeah, it's just that, slowly anything will lose a bit of potency over time, but how
Right.
much is very, there's a big
Right.
range there.
Well, by the way, I have to talk to you about everybody I know in the desert has joint problems. They have knee problems, they have hip problems, One guy broke his ankle and walked around with one foot on like a roller skate for months. And there's a doctor who I've known for probably 40 years. He was the first doctor I'm aware of who used stem cells successfully. And his practice is basically sports medicine, because athletes are wrecking themselves all the time. And when I would go in there, I'd be sitting in the waiting room, and some Amazonian 6'6" woman would walk in.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm working with him right now on something that I'm doing to me, and he is using stem cells to replace surgery. Think about that. His name is Dr. Mark Darrow, and he's in either Santa Monica or West LA. I can't remember exactly where he is. Mark Darrow. So if you have any joint problems at all, and you want to talk to someone who knows exactly what to do with stem cells, and by the way, they're not stem cells that he takes from your body. So there's none of that stuff going on. He's moved beyond that, where he gets stem cells, and I can't remember exactly. They come from babies being born. What do they call it?
What is it?
The thing that
Placenta?
maybe it's the placenta. It's the thing that connects the mother to the baby.
Umbilical cord?
Umbilical cord, right. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So, again, I urge you, I normally don't recommend doctors, but I'm so impressed with Mark Darrow, and I know that certainly in Palm Springs, which has it's sort of a senior demographic, everyone complains about, I can't.
I've been to him before. He's amazing.
Oh, you have? Mm-hmm. Oh, great. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was having like knee problems and got some injections. I don't know exactly what it is, but it helped.
Years ago?
Yeah.
Great.
He also loves astrology, so we talk about astrology together.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah, he does love
I
astrology.
love talking about astrology with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your sign?
My sign, I'm an Aries.
Aries.
Yeah. I won't say your sign because I know you don't like the name.
Oh, well, I've gotten used to it now.
Okay.
I don't know why they called my sign Cancer.
I don't either.
Why? It used to be called the Moon. Wasn't it called the Moon?
It is the moon sign. It's a sign ruled by the moon, but Cancer is the crab. And you know how crabs are ruled by the moon? You know, like the crab curry, how we couldn't get it on full moons because the crab meat was too tough because all the crabs go out to play on the full moon.
Yeah.
But they say Cancer is a crab, and a lot of cancers, like crabs, they have a hard shell that's tough to crack. And then once you crack it, there's a soft inside. I'd say that's true about this guy.
Right.
He's a real softie once you get past the first layer.
So do Aries and Cancer get along?
It's not, you wouldn't usually think like, wow, Aries and Cancer, that's a great pairing, but there's so many different signs in a chart that have to do with getting along.
So what would be my ideal sign to get together?
Well, Cancer and Capricorn, water signs generally with water signs and earth signs are very harmonious. So Capricorn, Taurus, Scorpio, Virgo, Pisces, but like Zanny, for example, she was a Libra, but her moon sign, I think she was a Cancer moon. So you guys had that in common. Where you are a Cancer sun and she's a Cancer moon.
Okay.
And speaking of Cancer, this is a segue, get ready for this.
Okay.
Cancer, the moon sign, has a lot to do with your mother too. The moon and the mother are very connected. And we are coming up on Mother's Day. And I would like to ask you some questions about your mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice segue.
Segue. That was a segue. The art of segue. So I want to ask you, I know she cooked a lot. Like, was there something she made that was your favorite thing, something you got really excited about before she was going to cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple strudel,
Wow, I didn't know she made that.
right out of the oven.
Oh my God.
Okay. The hotter you can take it, the better. With a big cup of tea. It's incredible. Plus her sugar cookies were great.
Yum.
Her banana cake was great.
Yum.
There was something else as well. But she was an incredible cook. And she didn't use recipes. I mean, everything was just, she'd sprinkle a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But she was, because she ran a boarding house. So she was cooking a lot and making lunches for all the people to take to work. And she taught me how to cook. Not purposely saying you do this and you do that. I just loved watching her. She was like a chemist mixing stuff together. I was always fascinated. And she had a bunch of bottles that had seasonings in them. And she knew which ones to use. They weren't even marked. She knew which ones to use. And her food was
That's
incredible.
amazing.
And when Suzanne and I would surprise her, we would walk in the house, and the first thing she would say is, "Oh, why didn't you call me?" It didn't matter, because within 20 or 30 minutes, we're sitting down at her dining room table, and she has chicken, always chicken ready to go, okay, and beef, and a side dish of pasta. I mean, she always had meals ready to go.
Wow.
Which was great.
And she taught Zanny some tricks about how to make great chicken stock, right? Because Zanny made the most amazing broth.
Yeah.
And your mom taught her, right?
Yeah, actually, something else my mother made that Suzanne loved was the potato leek soup. And it didn't turn out as good as my mother's. So Suzanne was talking to my mother one day, and she said, "I've tried, the soup, and it doesn't turn out the way you make it." And so Suzanne told her what she was doing, and my mother said, "Oh, you're supposed to use the potato water."
Yeah. I remember Zanny talking about how your mom used potato water.
Right, potato water.
Yeah.
So Suzanne used the potato water, and great.
Wow.
Really great.
That sounds like something I'd love to try to make.
Yeah.
They're also asking us, Alan and Violet, can you see the comments?
See the comments?
The comments. We can, because we have the show right here, so we can read some of the comments here. We got a question. Alan, did you play the piano for Suzanne? Because she loved classical music and other songs as well.
Good question. When I was a little boy, my mother sent me to the Royal Conservatory of Music.
That's right.
And which I was 7 or 8 years old. I really loved it, and I learned to play piano, but we studied other things as well. I really enjoyed it. The only part I didn't like was every year they would have recital time, and there'd be an audience, mainly of families of all the kids, and my mother dressed me in breeches. You know what breeches are?
Is it like lederhosen, kind of, but not lederhosen?
No, they're like things that they sort of.
Oh yeah, the puffy shorts, sort of.
No, they weren't shorts. They were long, and the bottom from the knee down they were tight, but then at the knee it sort of buckled out a little bit. Anyway, I was dressed like that, which I never liked, and I had to walk across this giant stage all by myself, sit down at the piano, and I remember the last year I was there, I remember when I played the Turkish March. Some of you may remember the Turkish March. But because my mother sent me to the Royal Conservatory of Music, and I graduated with honors, I have a certificate, I got my first professional job because of that. And my first professional job was hosting a 3-hour daily classical music show.
Wow.
And I did that for 5 years.
I didn't know that.
I loved it. It was great.
Wow.
I would choose a symphony that would last, 45 minutes, and I'd put that on, and then I'd take the elevator down to the ground floor in the same building, and have breakfast, and they would put the classical show on the speaker in the restaurant, and every so often, the thing was going around. This is before tape. It was acetates. And every so often the needle would get stuck in a groove and keep playing it over and over and over. And I would stop everything and I'd run to the elevator and I'd be waiting for the elevater and the elevator.
No, and it kept going.
And it kept going?
Oh my
Right,
God.
yeah.
That's so funny.
But I loved doing that show. And then I was living in Windsor and Detroit. And I started, the conductor of the Detroit Symphony was a French guy, Paul Paret.
Paul Paret was a conductor?
Yeah.
There's also a famous Paul Paret who was a designer.
Really? Paul Paret?
I wonder if they were related or...
Could be.
Yeah.
So I was invited to, there's a place outside of Detroit called, what is it called? I can't remember. It's where all the rich people live. And there was this one couple who loved classical music, and they would call me and ask if I would play a specific symphony for them in the morning, which I always did. And they would bring in incredible musicians. I remember they brought in the string section from the Concertgebouw Orchestra of Amsterdam.
Oh my God.
Okay? And we'd have a whole evening of music and have a great dinner, and it was wonderful. And that was my first taste of seeing how rich people lived, and I thought,
I
cool.
can get used to this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, there are so many
I'm going to
things
hold it up to the camera.
in this. Yeah. There are so many things in here that one day we should count them,
Yes.
because it has to be over 100 things that are in there.
Let's see. 4 plus 10, 14 plus 5. Oh God. 19. Okay, I'm gonna do that later. I started trying to count and felt like Zanny for a moment. But we have so many gut health nutrients, organic plant-based proteins in here, immune support boosters, phyto greens, phyto fruits and vegetables, sea minerals. This is our Gut Renew Superfood plant-based protein formula, and it's incredible. Today we have a deal where you get free gift, and that is the value size Gut Renew, original Gut Renew, with any purchase of $99.99 or more at SuzanneSummers.com. The free gift is for the original, but if you like the chocolate too, you could always buy the chocolate and then get the free gift. You spend $99.99 on the value size chocolate, then you get the free gift and you get the original as well. I'm checking in for some Facebook comments here. You're getting a lot of compliments, Zeta. People saying, you are so awesome. Al, you tell great stories. I love listening to you.
Thank you.
I watched you and Suzanne, and she was making chicken and pasta, and she said, billionaires have been in your kitchen. I'm sure they have. Does Al ever age is another question we got.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Does Al ever age?
Oh. By the way, speaking of aging, I understand there were some comments about my daughter, Leslie Hamill, who happens, I mean, she's 63. She looks years younger.
She really does look 40.
And there were people saying she must have had a facelift or she's doing something, etc., etc. And the answer is she has never had a facelift, ever, ever, ever. What she does, she's very disciplined. She uses a whole lot of Suzanne's products every single morning. And I wish I could list them for you. We should actually get a list from her.
Of what she uses?
Of what she uses,
I'm sure
because
people would love that, yeah.
she's very disciplined. She does it every single morning, and she has incredible skin.
She does.
And my skin's, I mean, you know, my skin is starting to go, but it's not bad.
No, it's not
Not
bad.
bad yet. Especially we have great lighting here.
Yeah, we do.
Really good. We should show you the lighting sometime.
Yeah.
Behind the cameras, we have a light, I'm not exaggerating, that is this big,
Yeah.
okay?
It makes me feel confident. If I come here with a pimple one day or something, I know the light's just going to blow it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. So actually, but I actually have pretty good skin.
You do.
Yeah,
You do.
And I sit in the sun every day. I've been doing it all my life. And even when I lived in Canada, and between November and April and May, there wasn't a lot of sun that shone. And I would go to the airport and say, where are you going south? And I didn't care where it was going. I just wanted to go there for the weekend. So it didn't matter if it was Trinidad or Acapulco or the Bahamas or Jamaica. It didn't matter where it was. Just take me south. And I'd go south and I would just lay in the sun all weekend, just loving it. Mm-hmm. And what I realized, what I was also craving was light. Mm-hmm. Light. And they're now building, in Toronto anyway, they're building these skyscrapers, and somehow the center of the building is hollow. I may be inaccurate with some of this, but it'll give you the general idea. The center of the building is hollow, and they have reflecting, I guess, mirrors to reflect the light down into the core of the building, so everybody in the building essentially had a corner office. They had accents. Plus, they now have rooms, big rooms, in companies that are all light, that people go to for their coffee break or for lunch, etc. And they sit in front and they absorb all the light. And it's a way of surviving a long winter.
It's smart
Light. Yeah,
because
light.
it can be depressing. Some people have really severe mood changes depending on the weather. Because I do think our pineal glands, to a certain degree, really enjoy light and
Yeah.
detecting light.
Yeah.
And we take it for granted here in California, but the past few days in LA have been really cold and gloomy, and I've been a little down. I've been like, what is this? But that's cool that Toronto's doing that, because I think in Morocco, I forget what the types of homes are called, but they actually face, like, there are no, I might be butchering this, but there are no windows on the outside or something, because there's so much heat that then all the windows face an internal courtyard that's like shadier or something. I don't know. Someone can probably correct me on that.
Well, I mean, you know, before there was air conditioning, they were building houses. If they could take advantage of a sustained breeze or light, they would build it that way. I used to spend 6 weeks every year in Mexico scuba diving. And what do you call it? God, I can't remember the name. Oh yeah, it was called, I stayed in a Mexican hotel, and it was on something called the Morning Beach in Acapulco. So I scuba dived around Acapulco and then Cozumel and Zihuatanejo and one other place I can't remember. And it was really it was a wonderful experience. And after you've been scuba diving for 6 weeks every year, you get cocky and you start doing stupid stuff. Like you're supposed to, when you dive, you're supposed to dive with a buddy. So if something goes wrong with your regulator or whatever, and you stop getting air, you've got someone who can share air with you until you surface, okay? I never liked going with buddies. I just like going by myself. And I would go to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, it didn't happen right away. You have to build up to it. But I would go down at 200 feet. And at 200 feet, it's actually torture because you have trouble breathing.
That's awful.
Okay? You have to do like
200 feet is so deep.
Yeah, very deep.
That's so crazy to me.
And there's no color down there.
Yeah, that's right. You said that.
Yeah, there's no color. Everything is like beige colored. But I would lay on the bottom of the ocean like that, and schools of fish would come right up to my visor, and we'd make eye contact, and it was incredible. And what I realized was, we know a lot more about inner space scientifically in our culture than we do about what's in the ocean. And I guess they're always looking for things like the Titanic.
Yeah.
But I would see things on the bottom of the ocean that stay there. They're like bottom feeders. They don't go anywhere. Strange looking fish or strange looking little crabs. It was really wonderful.
Crazy. I can't even think about it. It gives me so much anxiety to think about scuba diving. I think you have to be a specific type of person to want to scuba dive.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because I can't think about it without my hands getting a little clammy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to 200 feet all the time.
Yeah,
it was just like
that's
every
crazy.
so often. But I was diving with these two guys who owned the water franchise in Acapulco, the Arnold brothers. Reginaldo, and I can't remember the other one's name, Arnold. They were great. We got very close, and I would dive with them every day for 6 weeks. And one day they said, we're gonna do a cave dive. And I thought, wow, great. So I can't remember where it was, but we drove somewhere, and then they said that you go down, it's about 20, 30 feet down, and then you go through the entrance to the cave. I said, okay. So they said, so you go first. So I go through this opening, and the opening was so small that the tanks on my back scraped against the rocks as I was going through.
Oh my God.
I got through and I looked down, and at the bottom of the cave were 9 sharks hovering.
So scary.
Now, sharks have to keep moving to live, okay?
Oh.
But there was a river, let's call it a river, at the bottom of the cave that duplicated the sharks swimming and making sure that they get the oxygen off their gills, or I don't know how it works. So 9 sharks and me, and then I thought, oh, that little opening, if I have to run for it, I have to go through that little opening, and I'll be all freaked out. And they could tell that I was freaked out when they came in, because the bubbles off my regulator were coming off twice as fast as they normally did. That was scary.
That's so scary.
The other scary was a night dive. And I had a flashlight, okay, but I kept imagining the fish were going by.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't like that
It's
at
just
all.
like such a different type of person.
Oh yeah, and then I realized, sharks feed at night.
Well, there are some surfers too who do like night surfs, and all the surfers kind of get out at night, and it seems so cool to me, but I don't think I would ever do something like that. It seems like, I guess I sort of romanticize that a bit, like a bunch of surfers and the moonlight, Hawaiian tropical landscape. That seems awesome, but it's just so scary.
Well, Suzanne and I rented a little cottage on, I think it was called North Shore in Hawaii. And it's where all the surfers surf every day. And we were the only people on the beach, other than the surfers who'd come and go back and forth. And we got friendly with this one young man, and he had hundreds or thousands of little white scars. He was like dark from the sun, but he had all these little scars all over his body. And it turned out that they were from bottoming out and then scraping against the coral, I guess.
Wow.
Okay. So one day I asked him, I said, why do you surf every day? It's like this passion. And he said to me, this was an answer I didn't expect. He said, it's as close to death as I can come.
Wow.
Okay. I don't know what that feels like.
I mean, people are so different. That's what I take from that story. Everyone is so different. I would never think that. Everyone's so different. It's part of the great things.
Yeah.
It's one of the great things in life, that we're all so different.
Yeah.
I want to, do you have something? Did I cut you off?
No,
Oh.
not at all.
I wanted to ask you another question about your mom. And I wanted to ask you, when was a time that you saw her that you think she was the happiest?
Wow, what a great question. She was happiest when she was with her family, especially the grandchildren. She loved all the grandchildren.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have a lot of pictures of her with grandchildren. And also, I had a great relationship with her. She when is Mother's Day?
This weekend.
Oh.
That's why we're talking about
yeah.
Mother's stuff.
Okay.
Ding dong.
Duh. Anyway, I had a very close relationship with my mother. I would, after I moved to California, I talked to her every day. And I'd get off the phone and Suzanne would say to me, "Why are you yelling at your mother?" And I said, "I'm not yelling at her. It's the way we communicate."
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, and Suzanne never got used to that. I'd get off the phone and she'd go, "Well, you know what I'm about to say." I said, it's fine. My mother was always there for me. I was a bad boy, really bad boy. I flunked grade 7, not once, but twice. And the school they didn't know what to do with me. They were going to put me through for a 3rd time, but that would be an embarrassment for everybody except me. And so they pushed me into grade 8, and then I graduated from grade 8 and went to high school. And then I was expelled from high school twice. And the 2nd time, I was called into the principal's office, and my mother was in there sobbing because the principal had said to my mother, "One day your son will be standing in a soup line." You know what a soup line is?
Yes.
Yeah. And anyway, she took me home, and for the very first time, she hit me. She took the ironing cord, and she had me bend over the ironing board.
This is so crazy.
And she let me have it with the ironing cord. And that was a turning point in my whole life. And that's when I realized I'm not going to be a bad boy anymore. Well, every so often, okay.
It's not contemporary, but I think you needed that.
I did. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think if anyone needed to be struck with an ironing
Oh, yeah.
cord, it was you.
Oh, yeah. Well, in grade 7, I had Mr. Hart. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Hart, and I used to get this, I mean, today they put him in prison.
Yeah.
I used to get the strap from Mr. Hart
Yeah.
every day. He used, you know, what barbers used to use, a straight razor, and they would sharpen it on this piece of leather,
Oh, God.
thick piece of leather. That's what he used. And I get 3 on this hand and 3 on this hand. And the first time he did it to me, I couldn't believe how painful it was, and I actually teared up. And then I thought, if it ever happens again, I'm not going to tear up. And so Mr. Hart would really let me have it, and I wouldn't respond. And he hated that. And I think there was something wrong with him, because the one time he had perspiration coming off the end of his nose. So he was sweating. So I don't know what that means. There'll be some psychiatrist out there who's going to say, oh, the guy was beating you up and perspiring at the same time. That means he was suffering from blah, blah. So if there's a psychiatrist watching and you know the answer, we're looking at comments here. So let us know what that is.
Yeah. We have the comments here on this phone.
Yeah.
Also, I want to repeat this deal too, that today we have a free gift, and it's the Value Size Original Gut Renew. That is a $99.99 retail value with any $99.99 purchase at SuzanneSummers.com. So you get this great value size original gut renew, any purchase of $99.99 or more. Coming up on the expiration date, but again, the expiration date, it doesn't mean it's going bad. It just means that we're not going to sell it anymore past the Best Buy date. The ingredients can slowly lose potency over time, but that's why you get this great deal. So if it were me, I would jump on it. And if you're interested in trying both flavors, you could buy a chocolate gut renew superfood protein formula for $99.99 and then get a free original gut renew. So just an option. But we have so many things on the site, so many great things you can buy. The gut renew tumbler is great. We've been drinking out of these. And this is great because it gives you a straw, unless you're a freak like my grandpa and you don't like straws, then I guess don't get the tumbler. We also have this program guide.
The program guide is incredible.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it's incredible. I totally forgot about this.
It gives you recipes because...
Well, first of all, this is Violet's stomach.
That's my
okay?
stomach.
Yeah. But it's got recipes in here, plus it has pictures of what they should look like.
Yeah.
Okay? It's so detailed, and where is it? I'm looking for...
Zanny.
Oh,
There she is.
here's this incredible woman.
True beauty.
Incredible woman. From the moment I met her, it was really amazing. I met her and something clicked with both of us. And Suzanne actually called her mother that day and said, I met the man I'm going to marry.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Your guys' love story is like from a fairy tale.
yeah.
I certainly don't think, again, people are so different. I would never meet someone one day and say, I'm going to marry him. I'm such a slow burn. I'm so slow to trust people. I think it's incredible that you guys just clicked right away.
I know. And the only disagreement we had was she wanted to get married before I wanted to get married.
Yeah.
So we compromised. And let's see, we were together So we lived together we lived together for 8 years. The first 3 or 4 was only for, I think, 3 or 4 days a week. And then after that, it was like full time. And full time was living in our crummy little apartment. It was $200 a month. And it was in Beverly Hills. And it was called the Penthouse.
That's right.
Because it was a 2-story building and we were on the 2nd floor. It was the Penthouse. And
That always makes me laugh.
there were times we didn't have the money to pay the rent.
Yeah.
People don't believe that. I swear to you, it's true.
Yeah.
And Suzanne would sell my clothes. And I'd say, what happened to my... And she'd say, oh, yeah, I had to sell it to make the rent.
I think about that a lot.
And she said to me, you've never been poor, have you? And I said, no, actually, I was poor growing up. I just didn't know I was poor. But in my professional life, no, I've never been poor. So she said, well, I have. And when you're poor, you sell whatever you can make some money so you can pay your bills. Whoa. So,
So,
but it worked.
yeah.
It worked out. And I think about her a lot, especially in this house that we're living in, that I'm living in, is the first house that we paid attention to when we were building it, because we had built a couple of other places, and we'd do the plans and hire the builder and the architect and say, call us when it's finished. And this place that we're living in, we actually met with the 2 architects. They were married. We met with them at least once a week, and we'd review everything that was going on and everything we wanted. And we would change our minds about it. It was great. So this house is exactly what we wanted, and we called it our final house. And unfortunately for Suzanne, it was. But there's a lot of her in this house right now.
There is.
And, every night when I get into bed, I usually read. Or if I don't read, I watch TV. And honest to God, I feel her next to me in bed, sitting there. It's palpable. And, once, it was so weird. Once it was so strong that she was sitting next to me that I did this.
That's crazy.
Right, to try to, before she disappeared.
Yeah.
But, who knows, these feelings, afterlife. I realize the older I get, the more I believe in afterlife.
Yeah. I hope to God there's such thing as afterlife.
Yeah, right.
Best we can do is hope. I don't know if anyone knows for certain, but I'd like to think there's somewhere that all of our energy goes.
Well, our energy, and let's call your soul
Exactly.
energy. So that doesn't go away. It's just that you've lost the use of your body. Okay? But your soul, where does your soul go?
Yeah, because energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transformed.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been watching the Vatican
really?
ever since Pope Francis died. What they're going through. They have the greatest costumes, okay? All the cardinals, depending on what they're doing. They must have 6 changes.
That's crazy.
And they're all incredible. And they're wearing the hat, the big hat, the red hat. And, I mean, the clothes, I don't know who designed those beautiful clothes. But when you see, I think there are like 150 cardinals at the Vatican right now, and they're all waiting to choose the next pope. I think they've either had the first meeting or they're going to have the first meeting. And everyone, I think they have 250,000 people that turn up every day watching the chimney.
What's the chimney?
Well, because when they choose a pope, then I think it's white smoke comes out of the chimney.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I'm a bad Catholic, I
You
guess.
are.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And-
That's really cool.
And I can't remember, the black smoke comes out. Maybe black smoke comes out when they can't do whatever. I don't know what the black smoke is for, but I think the white smoke is when everyone, the new pope, and I don't know what happens after that, but it's fascinating watching that. And it's really fascinating getting a look at all the rooms inside the Vatican. Because they're not just rooms.
Oh, yeah.
These are like incredible things with art, major art. And what a vision they must have had. I don't know when the Vatican was built, but what a vision they must have had when they brought in the people to build. Because they essentially built a city.
Yeah, and it still is when Italy was, I'm forgetting the word, but when it was, I'm going to say nationalized, or it was a bunch of separate provinces. That's why when you go to two different places in Italy, everyone speaks differently. But the only place that remained separate was Vatican City because of the Pope. Because Sicily was never Italy, Sardinia was never Italy. They speak a completely different language. We were learning about that. Actually, I've been taking this Italian class, and yesterday we were studying some of the drawings in the Sistine, or not the drawings, sorry, the masterful paintings in the Sistine Chapel, because we were doing a whole chapter on Michelangelo. And
What are you studying?
Italian. I'm just taking a new Italian class. Just trying to get
I
better.
I know a little Italian.
Yeah? What do you know?
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia.
Huh?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, I've noticed that when you want to say something bad about somebody, there's a way to do it that will destroy the other person. It is such a powerful saying, and it usually involves the mother. Don't ask me why, okay? And almost in every language, there's this expression, okay? And I happen to know a couple of them, okay? Which I would never dare say on television. But if you're right, no.
But what is it?
I can't say it.
Oh yeah, you can't say it.
I can't say it, yeah. Otherwise, it goes beyond. It goes beyond. It's the worst thing you can say to someone in their language. Like I know how to say it in Russian, and I know how to say it in English, okay, for sure. And with one other language, Russian, English.
I'm curious what it is now.
I can't remember. By the way, Violet and I have a dinner date tonight.
We do.
Okay. Do you know how special it is to go out with your granddaughter?
It's so much fun. We always have fun together.
Now we'll sit there in the restaurant and people will look at us and say, look at that old goof sitting there with that beautiful young girl. Why is she with him? We should have a little sign. My granddaughter. Granddaughter.
Yeah. I think it's people could maybe assume that we're grandfather and grandchild, but I've realized too when I go out with my dad, we're at a sort of awkward age where my dad is always really trying to make it clear to the servers, like, this is my daughter, because now you have a lot of younger women who are interested in older men who, whatever, different dynamics now, so it is funny.
Why, is that more common today, that younger women are...
Yeah, it's called sugar babies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's called sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy and sugar baby, yeah.
I've never heard sugar babies. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a cute name, but, different strokes for different folks.
Well, I go to the McCallum Theater here every so often, so I see people who are sitting there. And I usually get to sit somewhere in the first 2 or 3 rows. And you see these... Because the demographic in Palm Springs, especially at the golf clubs, are older and richer. And you see, I saw this one guy who came in. He had trouble walking. He was not a good dresser, and he was with this woman. I don't think she was more than 25. And that was me saying, what's she doing with that old goof?
Yeah.
But I guess she was a sugar baby.
Yeah, sometimes, I don't know, people are into that. Sometimes there's a financial arrangement, you know.
Or it could have been his granddaughter.
Or it could have been. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true too. There are a lot of grandpas in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, if I ever see them again.
You should be sure to go and ask.
You know, I saw you guys when I was at the McCallum
That's so funny.
for the Paul Anka show,
Yeah.
and I just wondered whether you were a sugar daddy and sugar baby or whether you're related. I'm just curious.
It's so funny.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to repeat the deal, and then that's kind of
Okay.
our show.
Okay, I urge you to do this, okay?
Okay.
Because instead of paying $100 to get one, you pay $100, you get two. And this will last you for weeks and weeks and weeks. You'll be happy you have it. Just do it, because this is not going to happen again until we're at the point where we running the expiration date, you know, down the road. So just do it.
And you can certainly get another bag of Gut Renew and then get one for free, but you can also get anything on the site if you need a refill of your body wash, face wash, any products, or if you've been wanting to try something on the site. Just know that if you spend $99 or more at SuzanneSummers.com, you get a free value size original Gut Renew bag. And this is our superfood protein formula. It's amazing and has been very successful bestseller at SuzanneSummers.com. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching us. I'm just getting in here for a final shot.
Oh, that's right, yeah. You know, this is a family business, so everybody wears several hats. So today Violet is wearing the co-host hat.
Co-host and cameraman.
And the camera woman.
Camera woman.
Camera woman.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? In TV studios, there are a lot of women behind cameras, but they still refer to it as cameramen.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah. Well, the language is changing.
Yeah. But I would just never look at a woman and say, oh, cameraman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't they call them congressmen?
Congresswoman.
Did you say congresswoman? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
Well, ciao for now. We'll see you guys Friday.
thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining.
And yeah, and I just want to mention Dr. Mark Darrow again. I was with him for 2.5 hours, and the man, I'm doing something myself with him that I don't want to talk about right now. But I just want to let you know that if you've got any issues, joint issues, he's your man. No surgery.
Yeah,
No surgery.
it's true.
He also, in his office, he has a chiropractor. So it's all built in.
That's great.
Right.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.